I mean, the title really says it all. I genuinely cannot believe the day has finally come in the Call of Duty space where now, after Modern Warfare 2019, Black Ops Cold War, Vanguard, Modern Warfare 2, and now Modern Warfare 3, we finally have even the slightest mention about matchmaking in any capacity, a discussion surrounding it, and maybe some potential changes in the future. Today we're running down this hot button issue and what's been said, and a realistic approach as to what we may be able to expect on the other side of this. So drop a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new, and maybe you're part of that 60% of viewers who are not subscribed. I'd love to have in the community. But anyways, earlier this week I was in San Francisco, got some hands-on time with multiplayer for Modern Warfare 3 Season 1. We'll have gameplay for that coming on Monday once our embargo is lifted and we're legally able to share that kind of stuff. But to give some context and insight for how this kind of stuff works, almost every single one of these capture events in the last 7 years that I've been a part of include like a quick little briefing to start on the content, like a PowerPoint, slide rundowns of the details and gameplay changes, whatever the case that they're going to be showing off, previews of all the trailers that we'll see throughout the marketing window, sometimes even with early and unfinished assets. Still, I think one of the coolest things that I'd say has never made the light of day was the original Warzone reveal trailer back in 2020. The one that blew up, of course, and was the big marketing push for the initial launch of Warzone. The one they showed us a couple of weeks before it actually went live was a little different than the one that actually made it to YouTube. I think that the song in that is actually called Warzone, that track there, but initially it was a version with Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, and it worked so well. So it was a bummer that it never saw the light of day. I'd imagine they just couldn't get a license for that music in perpetuity. Also, why we have like random trailers like the Modern Warfare 2 reveal trailer from last year privated on the COD channel because of that copyrighted licensing, but that's a different story for a different day. But after those briefings, we have short Q&As where devs give further insight into the content, any questions people may have relating to it, and whatever the case. I'll be totally honest with you, this time around I had zero expectations of Sledgehammer or anything on like the PR side of things, even coming within 10 feet of that topic of matchmaking in games. But to my complete surprise, they initiated the conversation about it. It's absolutely a PR heavy statement, a non-answer, but also enough to be like, okay, I want to learn more. But they stated, and I quote, "We know there is a lot of interest in the matchmaking experience, especially around how skill contributes to how lobbies and matches are put together. Nothing is more important to us than the experience players have with the game, and matchmaking is a big part of that. We've been working on our matchmaking system for well over 10 years, and we continue to spend a ton of time and energy on improving the matchmaking process. This involves people working at our Call of Duty studios, our back-end service teams at Demonware, and other groups like our Player Insights team. It's a large effort that we've worked on for many years, and our approach combines latency, search time, and skill, along with many other factors to try and find the best match experience for you. Talking about this topic in detail can be hard, and we haven't spent the time to pull together all of our work to share with you our insights and improvements over the many years. We're looking forward to doing that in the coming weeks after Season 1 launches, and we'll also make it a part of our ongoing discussions with the community." Signed, the Call of Duty team. So this was spoken on behalf of the COD team as a whole, and that was made apparent at this briefing as well. They wanted to make sure that it wasn't necessarily them, the studio Sledgehammer, making this statement solely on the basis of Sledgehammer, because like I've laid out in the past, matchmaking is not something that dev studios work on intimately. Most of the developers that I've chatted with over the past 4 to 5 years were not privy to any of these details of what goes on behind the curtain. The way that I've always broken it down for a while now is like, it's like car manufacturers and gas companies. You absolutely have a right to be upset with the price of gas, aka the matchmaking tech, but the car manufacturers are the ones that make the cars, or in this analogy's case, the content of each game. Each studio has so many different teams, art, audio, engineering, all kind of things coming together to make the content we're playing so that we have good looking maps and good looking weapons, things with a lot of detail on them. The audio works properly on those maps and weapons. We don't fall through the map in certain locations and so on. Now, yes, there is something called a live ops team that each studio has, but that doesn't deal with the live operations in the sense of match-to-match matchmaking. That's like live operations in the distribution of content, with COD's focus on live service. When the live ops director in our recent briefing was breaking down stuff, he was talking about the Boys collab, the Dune collab, those things upcoming, and stuff that is coming over the course of the season. A live breakdown of how that content will be coming out. Matchmaking is not in that day-to-day docket for most studios. Sure, their networking and account teams probably have that data recorded by the game on the back end with the factors that are then used in the matchmaking parameters, but again, all of those are set and such by Demonware, who is named specifically in this statement. All in all, I think the statement overall is a whole lot of nothing, but also still saying enough. What I mean by that is that right now, we don't have anything concrete. We don't have any explanation as to what's going to be happening, but it does promise a further discussion on the matter in the maybe near future, maybe season or two down the line future. And that in and of itself is insane to consider, just because it's been sworn to secrecy for the last 4 to 5 years since Modern Warfare 2019, and we started to see this really ramp up. I mean, if you go back and play Black Ops 4, that's the matchmaking system everybody usually thinks about with Call of Duty. There was skill-based matchmaking in a degree, but again, only in that lobby balancing. You got those 12 players, and then from there, that's when the matchmaking took into effect, the balancing of different skill levels of each teammate. That's the sort of classic matchmaking that a lot of people have seen throughout COD history. Not just Black Ops 4, but that's like the most recent example, and for a lot of people, probably the most relative example they can remember off the top of their head, maybe. Modern Warfare 2019, you of course saw that a big flip, and that's where this discussion about skill-based matchmaking, retention-based matchmaking, engagement optimization-based matchmaking, whatever you want to call it, that's where the discussion really started in recent years. So let's talk about how this could go here. We do know that they're looking to be more open and transparent about this kind of stuff. Will they ever give their trade secrets? Probably not, but it is something that at least they're willing to talk about it, which is cool. Now, this is of course where we get to a speculative portion in nature of this video, but I think that these are plausible outcomes for this. Number one, nothing changes at all. It's literally just a giant PR stunt that amounts to absolutely nothing. And we get, sure, maybe a little transparency on how things are considered, but nothing will change. Kind of like them saying, here's how we do this matchmaking. It leads to the longest player retention and increases in revenues as a result. We're not going to change it. That's the answer that we all kind of assume is already the case. Otherwise, why else would we see it consistently implemented in every game year over year, but nothing ever mentioned or nothing ever tweaked with it? So that's probably what I think is likely going to be the more likely outcome of all of this. Maybe we do see it go into number 2 here in a second, where maybe there is some sort of explanation and some tuning. But I think really with having no expectations on anything beyond PR statements with this, I kind of think they're just going to be like, hey, this is why we do it, and we're not going to change it. But maybe we do get to that second option where we get some sort of explanation and maybe some tuning. Maybe we see things toned down a bit. Maybe we see an experimental playlist introduced every so often. Honestly, I kind of feel like for the most part, LTMs in the past have had lessened restrictions in that matchmaking as is. Lobbies for a lot of stuff, especially like on the Warzone side of things, always felt way easier in some cases. It might just be because it's a heavily advertised mode in the moment and there's more players to matchmake with, but it also could be a situation if they truly lessen the restrictions in those to, again, maybe allow players to want to jump in more because they feel like they're doing better per se. It's not as manipulative. Also, the very, very lofty portion of this sort of theoried outcome is that maybe we end up seeing it toned down in regular pub-based matches, and then of course all of your skill-based in ranked modes where I personally think they should be. And then number 3, the third outcome, is a Hail Mary that is never going to happen, but I'm going to hopefully speak it into existence. The COD team ends up coming out talking about skill-based matchmaking or however the matchmaking system works, and they're like, yeah, we hear you, we agree, we're going to remove it. Now again, that will never happen, I promise you that, but like, feels good to dream every so often, right? Just to be like jumping back to a Black Ops 4 matchmaking a couple of months into the year of what seems to be like the most strict matchmaking parameters we've seen yet. So those I think are like the 3 plausible outcomes. Again, 1, 2, and 3 probably in that order, but I think that right now this PR statement that was made is nice to see it finally acknowledged, but again, at the moment, it's kind of a nothing burger. It doesn't really do anything for us right now, and we don't really have any insight into when we end up seeing this in terms of the future. It could be a couple of weeks after the launch of Season 1. It could be the launch of Season 2, Season 3. They just stated that they're going to end up monitoring it and rolling out some tests is what they told us in this briefing as well, to see what can be done. So again, could amount to nothing, could amount to something, but right now it's more of a, hey, be on the lookout. We're going to have some more to talk about with this in the near future. So, I mean, that's kind of where we're at here at this skill-based matchmaking, retention-based matchmaking, engagement optimization-based matchmaking, whatever you want to call it, finally, after 5 years has been acknowledged. So What do you think here? What do you think the outcome is going to be come post-season 1 when we start to see more discussions of this? Do you think we'll see anything change? Do you think it'll be more so like, hey, this is what we're doing, it's not going to change? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor though and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 3. We got a lot coming up here with season 1 upcoming and Warzone's integration, everything on deck. Love to have you in the community if you're at all interested in staying up to date with all of it. But for now, that's what we're going to call it. So thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.